Hello folks, and welcome back to another video. So today guys, I want to talk about the WGA award winners and the PGA award winners, and just go over those winners with you guys, talk about potential frontrunners at this point as a result of those winners, and then yeah, just kind of have a little bit of a discussion. So we are going to start out with the WGA awards. Specifically, the winners are the winner of Best Original Screenplay at the WGA. So, as expected, Promising Young Woman took home that award, Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. You know, she's, of course, been a frontrunner. She won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Original Screenplay, and seeing her win here kind of solidifies her being a frontrunner going into the Oscar ceremony. But, of course, I still wouldn't count out Aaron Sorkin. Of course, he's a household name. He's a veteran screenwriter, and he was my front runner leading up to awards season. When he won at the Golden Globes, I was like, all right. I mean, we'll see what the other award shows do, but I'm pretty confident in him moving forward. But once Emerald Fennell started winning, she's now become the front runner. But I actually think this is going to be a pretty tight race, especially at the Oscars, just because, you know, I think the Academy likes Aaron Sorkin. Honestly, if you were to predict Aaron Sorkin to win Best Original Screenplay, I think that's kind of maybe a genius prediction, just because, you know, he's I don't want to say he's a safe bet because he's not really a front runner, but at the same time, you know, this guy's been in the business for a long time in the industry, and he's written some great screenplays, and he's a bit more of a recognizable name. But personally, I hope to see Emerald Fennell win just because, you know, it would be cool to see something different. And I think her screenplay was great, but I wouldn't count out Aaron Sorkin. When I started to look at these more, I really haven't looked at these WGA or PGA nominations since the Oscar nominations were announced. It's very interesting comparing the WGA and PGA nominations to the Oscar nominations. So, in reference to original screenplay, this one doesn't differ too much from the Oscars. The only difference is that the WGA nominated Palm Springs instead of Minari for Best Original Screenplay, which is interesting. And it's cool to see. Again, I like Palm Springs a lot. I recently watched Minari, and I thought the film was really solid, really great, deserves to be nominated for Best Picture for sure. But that's interesting. But original screenplay isn't even the wackiest one. Adapted screenplays is a little bit more wacky. So, of course, with adapted screenplay, films that one film that got nominated for adapted here at the WGAs that didn't get nominated for the Oscar was News of the World. So that was interesting to see the WGA go in that direction, and they also didn't nominate Nomadland, which actually I think is a really, really surprising snub to not nominate Nomadland. And they also didn't nominate The Father, which the Oscars nominated The Father for Best Adapted, and we didn't see that here. So as for the winner, Borat Subsequent Movie Film won Best Adapted here at the WGAs, which is surprising, and really, that combined with the fact that Nomadland wasn't even nominated, makes for a very unpredictable category. And I think this one, out of the two screenplays, adapted is definitely the closest race, the tightest race. Because although I'm not willing to bet against Nomadland, Chloe Zhao won at the Critics' Choice. Of course, she didn't win at the Golden Globes, but the Golden Globes don't have separate screenplay categories. But again, I don't put too much into the Golden Globes. Critics' Choice I put more into for sure, but the WGA, I mean, this is the Writers Guild Association. It's surprising that Nomadland didn't even get nominated, but the fact that Borat won is surprising. And like I said, it's difficult to bet against Nomadland, but to not even see it recognized at the WGAs, to not even see it get nominated is really surprising to me. But again, ultimately, I mean, I'll have to think about it, but when I make my Oscar predictions, I can't really see myself veering away from predicting Nomadland for adapted, but I think this is going to be a tight race. I wouldn't be shocked to see Borat win at the Oscars whatsoever. And actually, let me go over here to the Oscars real quick. these nominations. So yeah, Borat got nominated at the Oscars, so it's in there, and it's really going to come down to Borat versus Nomadland for adapted screenplay. So yeah, that'll be an interesting race, and that I'll have to do some thinking when it comes down to it before I make my predictions. So for original screenplay, I think we're looking at Trial of the Chicago 7, Aaron Sorkin versus Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell. And adapted, it's going to come down to Borat's subsequent movie film, and of course there were a lot of people involved in the screenplay, versus Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. But like I said, I think this is definitely a tighter race. All right, so that's all I have to say for that. Now let's move on to the PGA Awards. And the PGA Awards, very interesting when comparing these nominations to the Oscar Best Picture nominations. So first of all, one of the most major differences is the fact that the PGA's nominated 10 films for Outstanding Producer, and we expected, or at least I expected, to see 9 Best Picture nominations, and we only got 8. Which at the time of when I was reacting to the Oscar nominations, I didn't really notice that, just because there's so many, and I'm more focused on the actual films that are being nominated than how many, actually were nominated. But looking back on it, of course, we didn't see One Night in Miami get nominated, and we didn't see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom get nominated. However, we still saw The Father get nominated, which was really cool to see. Unfortunate to see One Night and Ma Rainey's get snubbed, of course. And they were nominated here at the PGA's, but the most surprising nomination initially when I did my PGA reaction was to see Borat's subsequent movie film get nominated. And originally I figured, okay, that'll be that's the weird one that the PGA's decided to nominate. I figured they would replace Borat with The Father, which they did. But of course, like I said, they also snubbed Ma Rainey's and One Night in Miami, 2 films that most people were expecting to get nominated. So who won this? Of course, as you can see, Nomadland won won Outstanding Producer of Theatrical Motion Pictures. And the fact that it won Best Drama at the Golden Globes, it won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Picture, and it's now won the PGA. It's a pretty solid frontrunner. Now, I did... even though I do consider Nomadland to be a solid frontrunner, it's kind of fun to think about films that could possibly dethrone Nomadland. I think out of all of these nominees, the film with the best chance at dethroning Nomadland is Trial of the Chicago 7, and I think that's still the case. Of course, many people were expecting to see Trial get recognized at the Golden Globes, and I think a lot of people were assuming that would set the precedent, establish a frontrunner. But as we know, Golden Globes can be wacky. Honestly, I mean, my confidence in Nomadland would have gone down substantially if Trial had won. But I still feel like Nomadland feels like a Best Picture winner to me. And the fact that it won at the Golden Globes and it won at Critics' Choice and it's now won the PGA, it's a solid frontrunner. But I think Trial is still a close... Well, I don't want to say close, but I still think it's a solid second. It's a solid runner-up to win, and if it won over Nomadland, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world. Of course, I would still be shocked because Nomadland's been sweeping, but it wouldn't, blow my mind or anything. Now, Promising Young Woman, I think, has the second best chance at winning over Nomadland, and that would surprise me a little bit, but it would be somewhat of a pleasant surprise. I would rather see, if anything's going to win over Nomadland, I mean, by the way, I'm rooting for Nomadland because I think that movie's, fantastic. But if anything were to win over it, I would prefer to see Promising Young Woman get it, just because I've seen the movie twice now, and although I think it is a flawed film, there's definitely some flaws, especially in the third act, from a writing standpoint. I think there's plot holes and stuff in the third act, a lot of things that don't add up, don't make sense. Even though I think it's a flawed film, there's something about it that's so entertaining, and I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed it both times I've seen it. But yeah, so anyways, now as for the film that I think has the third best chance at dethroning Nomadland, but definitely more of a distant chance here, Mank. I could maybe see it happen. Now, some may be a little surprised to see it, lower compared to the other two. I mean, Mank is a film about Hollywood. It's about the screenwriter of arguably the greatest film of all time. It's a very Oscar baity film, I guess you could say. But of course, audiences weren't a huge fan of it. I haven't even seen it just because I've heard, yeah, it's not incredibly entertaining. It's not incredibly enthralling, and it's not necessarily a short film either. So, based on everything I've heard, I've kind of stayed away from it. But, it didn't have a huge draw from audiences, which, that doesn't mean it doesn't have a good chance at winning Best Picture. Of course, all it has to do is gain the respect of, the industry. But even critics weren't a huge fan of it either. Now, of course, critics aren't necessarily the ones voting on the Oscars. It's people within the movie industry. I just think those two things combined, those elements combined, I don't think Mank really has a strong chance. Now, going into, the Oscars leading up to awards season, it was, somewhat of a front runner. And I think a lot of people were seeing Mank, just because of the subject matter it tackles, as having probably the best chance to win Best Picture. But of course, even though it got, I think, 11 nominations at the Oscars, it doesn't seem like it has a great chance to win most of the categories it's nominated for, including Best Picture. So Nomadland, definitely a front runner, but it's kind of fun to speculate at what might dethrone it, if anything does. So anyways, guys, that is all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this little discussion about the PGAs, the WGAs, as well as comparing those nominations to the Oscars and what our frontrunners are at this point. Just a quick reminder, of course, if you enjoy award season content, we have some major award shows coming up. Of course, the SAGs, the BAFTAs. I'm hoping to react to both of them. Definitely the SAGs, but we'll see about the BAFTAs. I want to for sure. I just need to figure out how exactly I'm going to do that. And then, of course, the Oscars, less than a month away, so it's coming up for sure. So if you like award season coverage, award season content, please take some time to hit that red subscribe button and also hit that notification bell too, so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.